Spring practice officially gets underway for Brent Venables and the Oklahoma Sooners, and the program is entering a critical offseason as it prepares for another brutal SEC schedule. On this episode of Sooner Intel, myself, Kchris Griffin from the Horns Down podcast, and Mr. Mason, Chris Mason from Sooners 360, break down the biggest storylines emerging from the start of Oklahoma spring football. We react to the first media interviews from new Oklahoma position coaches Deland McCullough, Jason Witten, and Lamar Morgan, and what their comments reveal about the direction of the program in Norman. We'll also discuss which transfer portal additions could make the biggest impact in 2026 as Oklahoma looks to reload its roster with SEC-level talent. Let's get into the intel. Good evening, and welcome back to Sooner Intel. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, along with one of my co-hosts, Mr. Mason, Chris Mason from Sooners 360. Kchris will be along, whenever he gets here. But if you love college football with the Oklahoma Sooners, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell on all 3 channels so that you don't miss a moment of Sooner Intel. Mr. Mason, welcome back to the show. Busy week coming up. Got spring practice getting underway. Got first words from the new position coaches for the Oklahoma Sooners. And we're about to get into some of, it's football. It's something other than just speculation and talk. There's going to be some work on the field.
Yeah, it's kind of a deluge of content on Monday, coming after a deluge of recruiting content over the weekend. And then we had the pro day today, and then it's going to be weird. Then they take a week off to go on spring break, and then they come back and they're going to hit it for 3 weeks, and we'll have all kinds of news coming out of that.
No doubt about it. I think that there was some really good conversation going on with the new coaches, especially. I particularly enjoyed listening to Deland McCullough. I think it's the things that everybody wanted to hear kind of coming out of your new running backs coach, particularly when your running situation wasn't very good in the last year. Aside from, your quarterback doing all the running and everything. And, not to say that you didn't have some contributions from the running backs, because I think you got 2 solid backs that really, I think they did a great job for what they were given, right? But it's just a matter of the way things kind of were put together. Your offensive line wasn't a finished product until late in the year. But I also think that the kind of things that you heard from Deland McCullough were huge. Loved hearing from Jason Witten as well as Lamar Jordan. So status quo on the defensive side of the ball, but I think we're expectations coming from these 2 offensive coaches got to be kind of getting back to what we're used to seeing in Norman on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, to pull out one Brent comment from his press conference, because he and Jim Nagy had press conferences as well. Great content from both. Jim Nagy with some couple of zingers and some interesting stuff. Jason, the comment I liked hearing was Brent talking about how he's sitting down with Mateer. They're watching film together, and he's Brent showing him how to break down the defense and break down kind of what's going on. And I'm like, those are the things we like. The things
I really liked hearing that too.
Those are the things. That's Nagy's freed up some of Brent's time
Yeah.
from a bunch of things, and if Brent's going to use some of that free time to do things like that, then I'm that's exactly what we want to hear. But yeah, I mean it was great hearing. I mean Jason Witten is one smooth dude. I mean he sounded incredibly polished, just hitting all the high notes. It's hard not to. I came out of the Witten interview just sort of thinking it's. And I don't mean to dog the guy who left because we've done enough of that, but I
Right.
mean, Witten was just so impressive. The sort of night and day personality transformation in the tight end room. Not even from a coaching standpoint. Not even factoring in the talent, experience, personnel differences we've seen. I just think Jason that room has the chance to just go through just a quantum leap in what we're getting out of there. I mean, he just from what he was coached from. I feel much better after that interview, and it's a knee jerk reaction. I'll acknowledge
No,
that.
but I agree. I think that, kind of looking at the three things that I kind of took from it was, and this isn't really something you heard. I don't know that you heard a lot of this from anybody coming off of the offensive side of the ball, but heard a lot of stuff about accountability. Maybe you've heard some accountability stuff in the past, but work ethic and leadership, and how important it's going to be for those guys at the tight end position to be accountable for those two things: work ethic and leadership, and what you need to do to help. There's no secret about what this offense needs more than anything else, and it's to be able to put together and put a run game on the field that can get the job done, that can carry the load for an offense that has been subpar. Uh, at best, it's been subpar for the last 2 years, right? And the way that he just kind of, I think the way that he brought up those things, I mean, you earn trust through how you work. He kept talking about you earn trust through how you work. You earn trust through how you work. And you know, it's a position that demands versatility out of you. And that's something that you didn't get a whole lot of last season, right? It just I mean, you got some guys that listen. No shade whatsoever to the guys that were in the room. They were not put in a good position to be successful. I mean, they just weren't. But they also weren't the type of guys that were going to be able to really fit what it seemed like Arbuckle wanted to do, which was get into a lot of 11 and 12 personnel stuff and be able to like make it work. They just weren't. They weren't set up to be blocking tight ends that are going to clear a pathway for you. You know what I'm saying? And so it just felt like to me, talking about details, the details, the truth is in the details. Details are kind of what separates you from being decent and really good. And I don't know that, you would have looked at that room even since I would tell you since Jeff Levy was here and say that you felt like that was a detail oriented room. That they were doing a lot of that stuff. I mean, you've had some guys that were good players, and I'm not taking shots at the players whatsoever, but I would tell you that it hasn't been something that has been Joe John himself. I think Kevin Wilson, we heard about Kevin Wilson kind of chastising Joe John last year about what the hell's going on in here. You know what I mean? And like, this isn't the way that we ran things when you were here, along with Jermaine Gresham and guys like that. And and where we kind of dominated where we were. You know what I mean? And just so I love hearing that. The more you hear Jason Witten talking, and I think even beforehand, we kind of going through and listening to him talking as a head coach at the high school level, I kind of enjoyed it. It took me back to a lot of, and I think I've probably said this a few times, but when he was first getting out of the league and trying his hand at uh, broadcasting and stuff like that, and what they were doing in like the meetings leading up to all that stuff, right? So it's just crazy, I mean, I enjoyed listening to that as well. But man, I tell you, I really enjoyed listening to Deland McCullough. Um, really, really enjoyed listening to Deland McCullough. You can tell that this is a guy that, listening to him, I think he's going to be a head coach at the college level before very long. He just
Wouldn't shock me if he's given, if someone will give him that chance, right? That someone will give him the chance to
his
mold a program.
pedigree, yeah, his
I mean,
pedigree as a football coach in general, not just as a running backs coach, but as a football coach is, I mean, shit. It's pretty second to none. He played in the league. He's coached in the league. He's coached to a very, very high level at his position, both in the NFL and in college. You know, you look at what Ashton Genty did by the end of the season for the Raiders last year. You look at what the guys were doing, uh, whether he was at Indiana or Notre Dame or USC and what you expect him to do now. And then talking about the fact that, he likes to play multiple backs, and the way the reason that he went back to the NFL was to become a better college coach. To get better at what I can do to develop these kids at this level. So, I mean, I had a lot of fun listening to that interview, and Lamar Morgan as well. But just talk to me about what, I mean. Did Deland McCullough impress you as much as he did me?
well, I think the first thing that impressed me was that he was already he had recruited X Rob out of high school, and
Yeah.
he was texting X Rob last fall when he was with the Raiders,
Uh-huh.
encouraging him, telling him to keep going. Now, trying to get updates with him. That McCulla sees his relationships with his guys beyond just signing day, right? And he was keeping contact with both Tory Blaylock and X Rob, and he already knew Hatton, and he knew Des Walker. He was
Right.
recruiting them from Notre Dame. So I think just his he sees that relation. He's not dropping any relationships. He never knows. You never know when a relationship's going to be important, right? So maintain relationships, and that's just that sort of professionalism and sort of smart professional attitude leaped out to me. But I guess the one thing that leaped out that was sort of dominant or preeminent from his interview is there was kind of that sort of F yes, I'm good, just ask me kind of confidence, like, a little bit of the Signetti, I'm
Yeah.
good. If I look, I'm very good at this job, and if you need to find out, go Google me because
Google
I
me.
am.
Hit up Chat GPT.
Yeah, I develop high-end running backs, and if you don't know that, go Google me. But this is what I do. I've done it everywhere I went, and Oklahoma has given me. And I'm walking into a room with four guys I know that I wanted to recruit that I know are high-end players. That
Right. He did recruit him. He did recruit him, right? He was
Yeah.
recruiting them. He said that it's as big a reason as anything is why he's here is because of the guys in the room.
He's like, I know the guys the quality of the guys that DeMarco was recruiting, and for all those who think, I mean, at some point we just need to move beyond the DeMarco story, right, and just put it to a side. To a side, but at the very least, we can all agree DeMarco was recruiting good guys out of high school.
Yeah.
Everybody felt like he was recruiting good guys out of high school. Deland McCullough just confirmed it. Hey, they've got four guys I was recruiting. So
Yeah.
I think that's what I got was a confidence that, like, look, the running game's going to improve here, and I'm gonna get it done. And if you have any questions about if I can get this done, just look at my damn resume. It says I'm gonna get it done. So we're gonna move forward, and this is how I'm gonna do things. And I think one of the things I sort of picked up was I think his classic quote was, the guys may not need me to be their dad, but I'm gonna love them up like I am their
I like
dad.
that one too.
Yeah,
I like that
that's
one
a
too.
paraphrase. That's a paraphrase. And I think what he's going to be able to do that I think where DeMarco really struggled, we saw, and this is my last DeMarco comment, we saw that DeMarco could recruit very well. And the freshman running backs, he was able to get them going, right? And we saw that he could develop and he could fine-tune senior running backs because we saw it, right? With Stevenson,
Sure. Guys
with
that
Eric
already
Gray,
have some development, Eric Gray, guys like that.
Yeah,
Sure.
it was the Kennedy Brooks. They all had great years under DeMarco.
Of course.
It's the middle stage area where I think DeMarco struggled, and some of that was the guys got injured, but some of it wasn't. I think it's the taking them from the freshman to the senior part where I think Deland McCullough is going to excel for us. Where DeMarco was struggling, he didn't quite know how to take them from a freshman to a senior.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And I think DeMarco was. I mean, as much as people want to bag on DeMarco, and I'm not going to do it either. I think that he's bringing in guys that this guy would have brought in.
Yeah.
We talked about the things that were important to him. The running back, he had an emphasis on physical running, right? Physicality. You got to run through contact, protect the football, finish your runs, finishing forward, things like that. Being able to pass protect. He talked about if you want to play on third down, you better be able to protect our quarterback, right? And then the versatility of the modern offense, talking about you got to be able to catch passes, understand the passing game, be reliable in that protection. So I think these are all things that we know for sure that DeMarco he didn't want you on the field if you couldn't pass protect.
Yeah.
We know that. Now, whether he got them to where they needed to be in that instance or not, you can debate that all you want to. That's not what we're here for. But if we're talking about what you're talking about, I think it's just development, film study, technique refinement, being helping with their football IQ and things like that. Obviously strength and conditioning is a big key to what you do at every level of football, but particularly at the college game, that it's got to move significantly forward from year to year, if that makes sense. And then, but like I liked what he said about building a culture in that room. And I don't know that the culture in that room, going back to Tawee Walker, was right at Oklahoma lately, right?
Maybe not at all times. It was a mishmash of guys.
So. It was, and I think that there were times that you weren't really sure how they felt about things. I know that they all loved DeMarco. Nobody's saying that they didn't love DeMarco, but I think that there were times. I mean, everybody's heard the story about Tawee and him not getting along at times while he was there. Tawee being upset about his role in that offense when he felt like he was the best guy in the room and wasn't getting love like the best guy in the room. And kind of what that led to, we don't have to get into all that because I'm not going to call it out. But that being said, I mean, when you start talking about the culture in the room, these are guys that are going to be rooting for each other. And I mean, it's a competitive position, and you want to be the guy that gets the carries. And I'm sure that that's part of that culture that he's talking about. But, I think that, you start finding out about accountability and good competition, and that brotherhood is what he talked about a lot. It's about building the right culture. These are all good things that I love to hear. And then the expectations for the spring practices, identifying the leadership in that room, building on their fundamentals, and then installing offensive concepts was probably my favorite thing to hear from him, because that means that they're going to do different things than what they were doing a year ago.
Well, and I think obviously part of what you could tell is obviously you don't bring in Deland McCullough with his veteran experience and the running back groups he's worked with and the places he's been to ignore him about how the running game should work, right? When the number one sign I thought when OU hired Deland McCullough was, okay, Arbuckle is definitely taking an attitude that he's looking for feedback. He's looking for ideas about how to make an improved running game, right? Because he could have hired some young running back coach who was a good recruiter. By bringing in this kind of guy, you knew that he was bringing in someone who he was looking for. I need your feedback on how we design the best running game, okay? And DeMarco, as a relatively young coach, probably didn't have all that kind of experience. I mean, there's a difference between DeMarco and McCulla. They have it's 7 years of coaching experience difference. So
sure, and I think that's as big a part of it as anything.
Yeah, that's a significant part. And four years under Kevin Wilson, and then 3 years. I believe it's 3 years under Mike Holmgren. I mean, yeah. That's 7 years of running strategy under two pretty damn effective offensive
Super Bowl coaches.
coordinator, a Super Bowl coach, and arguably maybe
Two Super Bowl coaches. Hogan
yeah,
won a Super Bowl.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so you're talking about he just has a different level of experience. So I'm happy that the room got refreshed. I think DeMarco is going to do a better job as a pro running back coach.
Yeah.
I think he'll learn some valuable lessons in how you get the job done.
Sure.
And but I just think Deland McCullough, you bring him in because you're looking to improve the running game. Brent said it on the Gabe and Teddy podcast. The running game was pathetic. We need to get better at it.
Sure.
So let's just jump on to this thing here. The Logan's.
Yeah, let's do that. It's a $10 super chat. So Logan Licky, thank you. What's up, Jason and Chris? What's the deal with Nagy tweeting about Owen Heineke? Is this saga far from over? Boomer. I don't know about far from over, but I'll pass it to you.
Well, so obviously Owen can go the Chambliss injunction route, right?
Yeah.
He can go that route if he wants to. Now, the NCAA has obviously reappealing the injunction, so we'll see what happens there.
Right.
And I think Owen seemed, based upon the interview I saw today with him at the Pro Day, that he's ready to move on. So I don't know what Nagy's referring to specifically beyond an injunction, but if there's some special bag of tricks,
they're looking. I think that I got from what I got from it, they're looking into whether or not what it would look like, and I think they're kind of having conversations with Owen as well, because, but here's what I continue to take from this, that they're emphasizing that he's done well enough at the Senior Bowl and at the Combine that, brother, you're going to get drafted.
Yeah.
You're going to get drafted here, and you got to be careful about how long you hold on to this Sooner dream so that you don't turn off the NFL a little bit. That's me saying that.
Yeah,
we always hear about how, do you love football? How much do you love? How bad do you want to play the NFL? And the truth is, some guys don't give a shit about the NFL. And I don't think that that's necessarily the case with Owen Heineke, but I think that you come off, there's a chance that it feels like there's a chance that you can turn certain guys off on that and make them think that way of you, and it doesn't help your career. Now, whether or not should you file an injunction here, what I would tell you, it's not the same as Chambliss, because Chambliss isn't trying to change a rule. Owen Heineke would be trying to change the what a rule is. And by the letter of the rules, he's not going to be eligible. When it comes to Trinidad Chambliss, there's precedent for them giving medical red shirts. It's usually a rubber stamp thing.
You usually have to have 2 years.
It's not the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, in the past, it used to be like the Jason White thing. You used to have lost the majority of 2 seasons, right? That's why that was the medical red shirt rule. That's the standard it used to be. So,
right.
But I think maybe there's something Jim Nagy's working on with somebody behind the scenes. I don't know. I was surprised Jim made that comment, to be honest. But we'll see. I mean, I think Owen.
I thought it was a little weird myself. I didn't understand why we continue having that conversation.
Okay, James Thrice. Okay, so this is. I keep seeing this thing being posted places. You need to.
I didn't see that.
Okay, so James, the issue is the year of lacrosse. He played like 20 minutes of lacrosse, and it counts as an eligibility year. It doesn't count as a regular redshirt season. Back in 21 when he did this for multiple NCAA sports, basketball in particular, if you played a minute of regular season action, that counted as a year of eligibility. Right. That's why guys have redshirted.
Now, whether or not that's a stupid rule or not, I don't think that you can argue that that's a stupid rule whenever they play about the same number of games and you get 4 and they're going to 9 games before, and you can still redshirt. So I think
but it is the rule. That's the rule.
It is the rule, though. It remains the rule, by the way.
And it was the rule in 21. So that's his first year of eligibility. Then he goes to OU, and then he tears his ACL. Okay.
Right.
That's his redshirt year. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Then he plays in 23, 24, and 25. Those are his other 3 eligible seasons. So he played 5, he had 5, was in for 5 years. So 1 year of lacrosse, 3 years of football, and 1 redshirt year. So he's not asking for a medical redshirt for 2022 when he was hurt. He's asking for them to basically
Just a red
waive,
shirt then.
just to call the lacrosse year a redshirt year, and then
Okay.
asking them to call 2022 a medical redshirt year. So that's why he's not winning this argument, is because the year of lacrosse, the NCAA is like, no, we're not going to invalidate that year of you played football. It's only 20 minutes, but you knew that when you went there. That's the eligible rules. And to be honest, the Ohio State lacrosse guys shouldn't have played him. They should have told him, quit lacrosse and go play football. But they did play him, and that's why he lost that year. So that's why he's always been on an uphill battle for this. It's not OU compliance screwing up. It's 2021 lacrosse,
Right.
2022 football medical injury, and he redshirted. 23 he played, 24 he played, 25 he played. So if you don't understand that, that's the real calendar. It's not a medical redshirt issue. So, etc.
Yeah, and I agree, Satterfield. I 100% agree. That's why I said I didn't say it should matter. It shouldn't cost you a year of football. I'm saying you're saying it shouldn't. I'm assuming here. It shouldn't, and I think it's a stupid rule. That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
That
I
being
mean, they
said,
should be. There should be a standard redshirt rule across sports. Like you get to,
I would. That's my feeling on it too. Now,
but
what should be and what is, we know, are not the same damn thing.
and you can't
They're
apply.
not the same damn thing, and there's no rhyme or reason for any of it. The NCAA is a feckless, useless organization, and on a number of levels, I'll say. And they don't have it. I mean, shit, they don't even. I mean, there's just no. I mean, they don't have any level of
They're
normalcy. There's nothing that you can sit here and look at and be like, yeah, this is the way that they always rule here. This is the way they always do things when it comes to this, because it's never the way that they always do things. It's a case by case basis, and whether or not whatever mood they're in that day. A lot of times, there's just no rhyme or reason to why they okay some things and don't okay the
yeah, no,
others.
no consistency in standards. So, all right, so we're going to jump back. Kchris Griffin's just joined us, just about to join us. So that's why Owen Heineke, that's why he lost his appeal, and his appeal was denied, and it was probably never going to work. It's because of this lacrosse situation. So
Yeah, and that's where I'm at. I just don't think they're ever going to give it back to him. Those 15, 20 minutes, whatever you want to call it, they don't care. That's the rule.
that everybody
And you're
else.
trying to, and the way they look at it, you're trying to change the rule.
Yeah, and if you look, and if they do it for Owen, then there's gonna be a bunch of people who say, "Well, I only played an hour. I only played one game of softball. I only played one game of table tennis. I don't know, it's tennis. I'm playing other sports."
Table tennis is crazy.
Well, and I mean, but I mean, as we've heard you say before, there, welcome in, Kchris. You talked about before that there's things that that they're trying to not do two things. They don't want to set new precedents or open floodgates. And
Yeah.
both of those things would happen if you allow Owen Heineke to come back.
Yeah, if you waive his lacrosse year, that's what we're talking
right.
about. You just basically say didn't happen, or we're giving you a redshirt year for it, and we're calling your other year a medical redshirt year. That's fine. So
Yeah.
if they did that, then they're opening up the floodgates of appeals, eligibility appeals for any number of people for other sports in which they barely participated in this season and lost eligibility.
Yeah.
So
What up, Kchris?
What's up? Two things to add to that. One, I mean, it could just be a one-off. I mean, hell, they have this stuff happen all the time, a la the eligibility argument they've been fighting, and it looks like they've finally won one of those cases against Aguilar. But on the other hand of this, just to end this topic right here with you guys, I would say that letting Owen Heineken in, it does let the floodgates and all the rest of that stuff happen. But most of all, it actually takes away from the argument you have against uh, Chambliss right now. So we could definitely get into that a lot later. But yeah, that's something to think about too, because it takes away from that argument because
I hadn't really thought about that, but you're right.
huh?
You're right.
Yeah, it hits on eligibility on a different front, but at the same time, it's still all under the same nucleus. So it's just something to think about. It's NCAA is trying their hardest, but again, I still think there's a bit of self sabotage, but we'll go from there.
So, Kchris, we've been talking a little bit about the new assistant coaches and our first chance to kind of hear from them. And we've been talking a little bit about Deland McCullough and Jason Witten. I know from Monday when we were doing our recruiting intel show, you really liked what you heard from Lamar Morgan. Do you want to? Can you relay some of those some of those thoughts for us?
When it comes to Lamar Morgan, I think the first word that pops out is just intentional. I think that him being here was intentional. He knew he had a plan on and off the field, both for his family and then also for what he envisions. A job like this being like with a staff. All the rest of that stuff. He had a vision. I
Like-minded.
think that it's one of those things where if you're a leader anywhere, it doesn't matter what job you have. You're always trying to find people who you can match. Basically, you can say, "Hey, what's your personal goals?" And then you could figure out what those goals are and how they align with the overall organizational goals. And that's somebody that you say, hey, that's going to be not only a glue guy, but an important piece at some point. And so I think he's a guy. You look at everything else. I mean, he's had some major stops along the way. I think that was something that was unique about his story is that even though he's been intentional about where he's going for, his kids, his family, all the rest of that, he still has some really good stops. And I mean, let's not act like Michigan is not a brand, right? Deland McCullough, just to jump over there, confidence. That's the word that describes him. I think he's confident
Yep.
in what he's going to do. And I think that um, I was talking to Brady this morning. He was like, we talked to all the coaches and the new coaches, and they kind of gave us their softball answers. I said, I don't think there was softball answers about a few of them, simply because I think that Deland McCullough has I think he has a real plan in place, and I think that one of the things that I like about him is that he has one of those focus on the solution, not the problem mentalities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily know what the problems were in that room. Um,
Didn't care. Didn't care.
yeah, he didn't care. I mean, it was kind of all forward thinking as far as
Yeah.
what we have now. We have guys on campus that can get it done. I've been a part of bad offenses, but we still been able to do something in the running back room. And I think that all three of us, and I think everybody in the comments and Sooner Nation alike would say we're not asking for much, just asking for a tad bit more help in the running department, so we're not putting our quarterback in harm's way. Again, you go to Witten, and I think it's just one of those things where it's just first off you're starstruck by him even being here, but
Yeah.
also again, I think that the move he's a combination of both of those of what you got from McCullough and Morgan. I think he's both confidence and in just intentional, right? I think that a lot of his moves have been calculated. Think that this is a move in the right direction for him, but what he wants to do, and obviously he's going to get to be around his son, who I mean, I think we all were believing he was trending towards OU regardless, right? So I really like what I've heard from them, and again, um, two of the three, because I think that the cornerbacks room is going to be phenomenal as well. But two of those three coaches have keys to help unlock this offense. It all boils down to obviously Mateer and Arbuckle, but when you look at when you look at what this offense could potentially be with an actual run game, and also being able to help our offensive line with key blocks, running different things that Arbuckle wants to run with those inline and those little basically split tees, different things like that. It's just so many different things that you want to see from this offense, and I think we weren't able to get to that last year simply because of personnel, not because it wasn't good enough. It's just wasn't at times it just didn't match what we were trying to do with the personnel that we had. So again, those three coaches, I'm really excited about what we heard, and can't wait to see the spring game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Witten. The thing about Witten that hopefully, so I had two thoughts coming out of it. One, wow, I think James Thrice just said Witten sounds like a 10-year veteran head coach. Yeah, I'd agree with that. So the initial concern I jumped to is like, man, we may not have Witten for that long. But then you heard Witten talking about the fact that, he feels like, he's made a difference in mentoring high school kids. That 15 to 18-year-old group, mentoring those players and making a difference in those guys and those young men's lives. I thought it was very poignant that he was talking about that he wanted to work with that 18 to 23 age group, and also wanted to be, important in their lives, mentoring them into young men, and that we will have his son on campus in next January, that he probably will want to hang around and see Cooper's college experience for several years. So I was alternatively concerned, like, wow, when he was mentioning the Patriots coach, whose name escapes me right now, the Ohio State guy, and he was mentioning Matt Campbell from the Detroit Lions. He's sort of talking about, you could just tell that, Witten sounds a lot like those guys. So that was the concern, that maybe we wouldn't have that much Jason Witten, but I think he'll be around at least 2-3 years to see his son playing college ball and to be able to keep his family together. And that was obviously very important for him. So
I think he could be maneuvering for a head coaching job, but at either level, right? I mean, I don't think it's necessarily that he's just trying to go to the NFL. That's the, and you were talking about Mike Vrabel, as James Thrice says, but I don't think that, I don't know that I think of him like Mike Vrabel so much. I think that I could see him if, whatever happens with Heupel, if he moves on at some point, I think he may end up, he's maybe maneuvering to get that job, right? Doing some stuff like that, or possibly, any kind of job. He loves Dallas. There's multiple jobs that could be open around there at any point. And I think that when you recruit the way that he's already recruiting, and, we've heard the things that he said about, what he felt about the development of guys like Hansen and those dudes, I would say that that it's a big step in the right direction. I would really think that that's where he's at. But in the end, I liked what I heard from him as well. I think Jason Witten's going to be an all-star coach, and however long you get him, I think what we're looking for here. Look, this is part of the deal in college football. Is if you're winning, you're going to lose these guys, and it's about holding on to your culture and continuing to make smart hires. I mean, it's something that we've talked a lot about this the last 2 years, that we felt like there was definitely more thought put into the positions that you've hired for than what we thought there was with the hiring of Seth Luttrell and Joe John, right? So I think that the fact is we feel like that's it, but you got to always do that. So if they win, then yeah, you're probably going to lose. But that's a good problem to have, because with that comes big wins, but championship style wins, because that's when you lose them.
Yeah,
right?
it's easier to replace Jason Witten with another star tight end coach if Witten puts two guys in the NFL and the tight end room is excelling, right? It's easier it's easier for Brent to then go, well, I want this guy. I want like the guy who's developing the tight ends at Penn State. Go out and get him and bring him over. Something like that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And Yeah, I was just, Lamar Morgan, we hadn't really talked too much about him, but I think that I loved hearing what he had to say was, that the like-minded uh of what he felt like this defensive staff, and we talked about it a lot. These guys are on the same page, man. They're all they all are all-stars in their own rights. A number of them, a couple of them have been head coaches, a number of them have been coordinators. I think damn near all of them have been some kind of a coordinator on the defensive side of the ball. Other than Chavis, really, pretty much, right? The
Yeah,
guys that are in the
yeah,
room now, that are there
yeah.
now, and some of them have been head coaches for that matter. So, um, at the end of the day, I feel good about where they are in this hire because I think that he feels good about it. That he talked about being very intentional with where he was. I think Kchris, you just said that he was very intentional about the choice that he made coming to Oklahoma
Yep.
because of the fact that look, he liked it. Not only did he love the room, which is the same thing we heard from Deland McCullough, is like, yeah, I was recruiting these guys too. You know what I mean? And we've seen what he's done with that secondary at Michigan. Um, I think it was a gamble on Kyle Whittingham, and I think Kyle Whittingham is one of the best coaches in the country. I think it was a gamble to let him get out of the room. I really
Yes,
do.
it's interesting how, as using the words intentional, how much Lamar Morgan in his interview was talking about, like, well, I needed to get my resume in front of Brent. I was doing everything I could to get my resume in front of Brent, working every connection I had to get, and Brent said he interviewed 10 guys, right? And
Mhm.
Morgan's like, I got to get my name, I got to get my folder, into that stack. How do I get my folder into that stack of resumes that Brent's gonna review? And he was talking about how he's working every connection he knew. Then he
Right.
finally, one of his connections, and he didn't go into the names, and you don't expect him to do that. It's like, no, I know Brent. I'll get your. I know. One of his connections knew. I think somebody on staff was like, I'll get your name in. Yeah, my guy said he'll get your name into the stack, right? And he's like, cool, man. And then once he got his name into the pile, I think Brent was like, whoa, this guy's great. He fits again what you guys have been saying. He's a perfect fit. I can bring this guy in. He's a good recruiter, good
Yes.
developer. He's got DC background. I like
Yeah.
that. So I think it
As
was.
I said, aside from Chavis, pretty much all of them, it's called plays.
I mean, I think it was. We were all wondering, well, how did Lamar Morgan end up here? And the answer is Lamar Morgan wanted to be here,
Mhm.
and that
Intentional.
that's a decisive move from a guy who had a lot of offers out there. So, just like Jason Witten turned down an NFL job, tight end job, right before right before he accepted the OU job, or right after, some time frame like that. So again, and we know McCulla would have gotten offers from who knows everybody. He was, once he was available. If OU had sat back and let him be available, he would have gotten probably 4 or 5 different offers. OU and McCulla didn't wait. As soon as he was free, OU got him signed, sealed, and delivered. That was a quick.
Mhm.
I don't know if Dalen called Brent immediately and said, "Look, I'm freed," or "Don't hire anybody until I find out if the Brader job is gone or not," or some. I don't know what the connection
There was
is.
some kind of contact going on between them.
Yeah, definite. And then Dalen said, "Brent, I'm free," and boom, like that, he was hired as the running back coach. So
Mhm. Mhm.
again, I just like the efficiency, and we know that Brent was going through 10 resumes, and I think that's a good sign, right? He was going through 10 resumes, and then he found Lamar Morgan, who really wanted to be here. That's a sign of a maturing Brent and how he's hiring assistants.
Yeah, True Okie says the only two questions I have for OU this coming season are: can Arbuckle Mateer progress, and what does the depth in the front seven look like? Lists lots of talent in the front seven, but a lot of unproven talent. Okay, but what you have proven is the development of Todd Bates, Miguel Chavis with that talent,
I
right?
think yeah.
We had a lot of unproven talent last season as well.
I, I'll get to that. I'll definitely give my 2 cents on that when we get to our player stuff. But out of the I mean, obviously there's so many topics you can talk about with like the pro day stuff. But man, just watch some highlights of Mateer, and I
My
could
phone blew
definitely.
up. My phone blew up with people saying his mechanics look better. I was like,
I
oh,
was going to say,
okay,
I saw one comment on there, and I do agree with that. I think that um, when you're looking at the feet, still some things that you want him to clean up. But
Right.
when you look at the upper body, obviously these just routes on there. It's nothing glaring. Like it looks fresh. It looks good. It looks like he's healthy. I was just like, okay, okay. So that, obviously this is a pro day for everybody else, but this was a chance for him to get out there in front of everybody as well. So just wanted to shout that out and say, guys, go look that up. It's on YouTube. You can see damn near every throw that he made. And again, still things to clean up, but it is literally March and we have until September this year. I don't think there's really any games in August like that, probably week 0 or whatever, but regardless, September, right? So still a
Right.
long way. Summer's going to be long. I'm sure he's going to go and clean up even more. So that should give everybody a little bit of hope, but still work to be done.
There's a lot of work to it. And when it comes to one thing I'll say about the quarterback position, we've seen it a lot. It's tough to make that transition, even if you're getting the work, to not fall back on what you're used to being, right?
Mhm.
I mean, if anybody who's ever like I always equate it to like learning golf. You get a bad swing, uh, uh, you know, bad thing in your swing, and it's tough to work that shit out under pressure, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you get in pressure, you tend to fall back on your old ways. And we know you're going to get pressure in this league. So my hope is that he continues to do that. I think that the best way that you can help him progress is by having an actual commitment to the run game.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Outside of him having to run it.
no, it was
So
yeah. I mean, um, on the pro day, the only pro day sort of negative I have coming out of the pro day is it looked like Kendall Daniels running a 4.75 and his vertical was I guess it was okay. I don't know if he's hurt or if he's gotten himself too heavy for the NFL or something like that. But I think the only negative out of the pro day for me was I think Kendall Daniels might go undrafted at this point. I think there's a chance of that. I think other guys have looked really good, have really helped themselves. Fabechi, when you listen to Gabe doing I guess the play-by-play of the pro day, for lack of a better term, and he was talking about the way Fabechi was working and how he looked. He felt like Fabechi was really helping himself, and that was some of the buzz out of the pro day, that that he looked good and that Dominic Williams looked good in his workouts. And I just don't think I didn't see a lot of Kendall Daniels doing stuff today either. He did the 40, he did a vertical, but he didn't have any records for him doing any of the other stuff. So it's a little strange that he's kind of skipped the combine.
I
And
think
now
he's got to be getting over something.
is he
There's got
hurt?
to be
He's
something
got to be
there's
hurt,
got to be
right?
an
Got to be
injury or
something,
something
right?
there.
Yeah. So
And the thing is maybe if he doesn't feel like he's 100%, then and I mean he's going to stand on what he did in the season. I don't know that I blame him for that.
no, there's no point putting up terrible times and stuff if it is.
No.
But
No. I mean,
his
because the truth is his measurables say he's a freaking NFL 15-year player.
yeah, but his representation need to get the word out if he's hurt, and that's why he's
That's possible. I mean,
yeah,
again,
yeah,
I'm not saying that there's nothing that maybe he shouldn't be doing this or that, but it just looks to me like, and maybe he's not putting that out there for the public, but I'm guessing that his
right.
representation is putting that out there, right? I mean,
I,
I just
I
don't think.
I I would hope so, but he just
Sure, sure.
it just from an external viewpoint, it just looks everything looks a
I
little
agree with you.
strange.
I agree with you on that. But I also I think I worry less about Kendall Daniels than I would about if it was Owen Heineke, then I might be a little worried, right? But that he hadn't done anything, shown anything at whether it be the combine or now at the pro day.
I,
Looking at
I just going to jump in here and say, Chris Mason, Well, Jason side on this one, I don't think he's going to go undrafted. I think they're at the very least
No, yeah.
late. He was going to go late rounds anyways, but he's a novelty. He's a specialty piece. He's the guy that Mel Kiper comes on in the middle of the third day or whatever, and just talks about, oh, he could be this, he could be that. Don't really know about these times, blah blah blah. Don't really see him, blah blah blah. This and that, yada yada yada. He's a guy who has a long career. I think that somebody is going to definitely take a chance on him in the late round. So I think probably somewhere between fifth and sixth round, that's where I would see him at. But honestly, hell, again, if he went undrafted, would that be the worst thing for him? Because I think he still would make a roster
Sometimes you're in a
because he's
it's a
going to
better
ball out.
you can kind of pick what fits you better if you
Yeah,
are undrafted, and because of the fact that then they, you kind of take a look at what fits you best. I don't know that he's going undrafted though.
no,
I
I think
don't
the
think
thing
he's
with
getting out of
him,
the fourth round, to be quite
I'm, I'm
honest.
just, I'm
He's
just,
too.
I'm just giving you from my source at the pro day. That was some of the buzz. There was some strangeness around that, so we'll see.
no, I mean,
Sometimes
him running at 40,
those
he
little
will,
nuggets get passed around by teams that don't want anybody else to pick them.
yeah.
I'm simply
Him running at 40, he looked injured and stuff like that. But again, he and somebody like gosh, y'all made me lose my train of thought. Marvin Jones Jr. Those are guys that came in, and I think teams are going to say, "Hey, as far as how can we use these guys?" Because I think they fixed what they needed here, which was attention to
Motor.
detail, tackling, and last but not least, just having a motor every single play, right? Not
Mhm.
taking a play off. I think that's something that I think a lot of these guys really fixed with coming to OU. But we can move on now.
yeah. So I mean, other than that, there wasn't too much I thought from the pro day, but the Mateer throws were interesting. I was like, okay, mainly because I was getting a bunch of text messages from folks about it. I was like,
A lot
oh,
of
okay.
oohing and ahhing about it. Again, I don't take a lot from pro days anyway, even if it's their pro day.
Nah, but
I
it's
don't give
it's
a shit about it.
you
So
know it's something to talk about, right? We're looking for
at the moment, I think that what we saw after what we saw, absolutely, I agree with you.
gleams of anything, right? We're looking,
Yeah, but listen, give me any level
hint,
of
you know.
positivity possible, because I don't know. There wasn't a lot to be positive about when it came all down to it last year. So I want to see him get better. You got to see it under fire. But again, I would tell you that I think it's the biggest thing that you're probably going to see. I think your biggest improvement would be if you take it out of his hands that he has to be better in this, and that, with things that are ingrained. Take take the play, take the decision making out of his hands. Let him hand the football off, because that's the only thing there is to do there, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we're all on board that a better running game, and we do. I think what seeing, hearing Parker Livingston, hearing Trell Harris, hearing Hayden Hanson, Rocky Beers, it was encouraging. Like, okay, we know that both the wide receiver room and the tight end room have got different players, right? That there are more weapons, more options for him when he does have to pass the ball, which is always a good thing. So
Right.
yeah,
No doubt. Well, you can use that to kind of, I guess we can
Tran-
kind of yeah, go ahead.
you want to transition to our portal players to watch this spring?
Absolutely. Go for it.
So we did freshmen, we did returning guys last week. So we're going to close out this week with the portal players to watch this spring. And my first, and the guy I want to hopefully here's quite a bit of feedback is I'm relatively confident that Hayden Hanson's going to have a big spring. That's just sort of a given. That Rocky Beers is a veteran guy. He's going to look good this spring. I think the unknown variable at the tight end position is Jack Van Dorselaar. If we can hear really good things about him, that he's a two-way tight end, because he's the guy with the future, right? If Van Dorselaar can hit the ground running and get into the rotation this year with 2 5-year seniors, then that means after Hayden Hanson and Beers are gone, we've got our guy for next year that can set the standard in the room and be the guy. So that's one of the guys I'm interested to watch is is what are we getting from Jack Van Dorselaer? His high school footage is great, and when you hear him talk, he says, he has a goal to be a true two-way, effective tight end, effective in the passing game, and an effective blocker. So that's my first guy to watch.
Okay. Okay, Chris.
I think I put on mine. I think Trail Harris. I'm really excited to see what he can do. Again, if you liked what you saw from Keontae Lewis, and I hate that he was robbed by injury this year, because man, I think that he could have. He was that possession guy. He was the possession guy for Mateer a lot of times, especially on those 50-50 balls, man. So it'd be interesting to see um, what a guy like Parker Livingstone could be. Could he be that? Is he just a possession guy, right? Is he the guy that moves the chains, or is he somebody that could be a deep threat? You look at a handful of those guys, your Michael Carter as well. But the reason why I bring up Keontae Lewis, and then I also bring up like Burks as well, with what you lose in those two, the production or whatever is something that you could potentially get back in Trail Harris with both of those guys, as far as combining the speed, big play capability that Burks had whenever he did have the ball in his hand, because he was able to make plays. But when you look at like what Keontae Lewis was able to do as well, the height, the size, those are different things that you see in Trail Harris. I think that he could be both of those guys in one, and I think he has a lot of big play capability. If you put on the highlights, you put on the film, you'll definitely see him turning, little 5 yard outs, little 10 yard, hitches, little curls and stuff like that into some really big plays down the field, and he gets open too. So that's going to be interesting to see how he comes in on his offense. So that's somebody that I'll definitely be looking for this season to make an impact.
Right. I was going to say Parker Livingston because of the kind of the same things that you just brought up when you added him to your, Trail Harris pick. But so I'll kind of move on to, I think that right now we're hearing the things that we're hearing about Hayden Hansen. I can't wait to see what he's about. Rocky Beers as well. I think that we're continuing to have this conversation about the running game. I think that that's the most important piece to it, is the fact that you've got some tight ends that can clear the road for them. And from, if what we're hearing is correct, that Jason Witten thinks that he found something that he can unlock in Hayden Hansen to make him a big time pass catcher too. With his size in weight and everything, that could be a major weapon to add to your arsenal. To be able to throw to a big target like that instead of taking off. If you're John Mateer, look for the big guy. Chuck it up there and let him go get it. That could be big for the overall moving forward for this offense. So I have Parker Livingston just for that same reason that what Chris was talking about. But since he brought it up, I figured I'd go ahead and say I'm most excited about Hayden Hansen probably of anybody.
You can talk about Parker Livingston. I was just bringing him
I
up.
like Parker Livingston too. I think he's going to be. I think he's a better player than what people are acting like it. And I love it that he's pissing off Texas with every word he says.
Oh yeah,
with every word he says. I fucking love it.
I think he's a chance to be that big target receiver. I mean, you have hopes for the Carions, the Petites, the Manny Choices of the world. Can one of them be that big wide receiver on the outside that OU so desperately wants to have with all that size? But he's somebody who we've seen get it done in the SEC. We've seen him, and honestly, again, Texas fans gonna be mad at me, and if Ben G was in here, he would laugh, and I'm sure Bevo's bodyguard gonna come in here at some point and start talking shit. But
he was right away.
His numbers would arguably be better if Manning was the way that Manning played to end the season, which was great. Especially like the game against us was a turning point from him. And if we're just being honest and not just hating on them, Manning played great down the stretch.
Well, other than the Kentucky game, but let's be.
Yeah, there were a bunch of games where you just dudes are running down the field wide the fuck open. I mean, Parker Livingstone can't help. He's in the end zone wide open, and is throwing cross body, running out of bounds against San Jose State. So, I mean, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm just
Look,
saying.
he
Like,
had
I
a
don't
good
know.
game against Oklahoma. I mean,
Yeah.
let's not be wrong. Let's not bullshit around about it. He had a damn good game against OU.
Yeah.
You know, I think the one
What did
thing
he do?
from, to tie the pro day to the Harris comments, it's obvious that Burks and Satania were two slot guys, and having two slot guys out there, it just didn't work. And now instead of Satania now has the slot, and now we've got two wide receivers who bring a completely different set of skills and are just physically different than Burks. That I think Burks is going to go have a big day in the NFL in the slot. It's just two slot guys in the SEC just doesn't work. So that's what I see about both those wide receivers.
JW Crunch, y'all talking about Parker Benedict, and I just got this.
And if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Although I know New Jersey with Parker Benedict on the back of it is going to be that would be pretty funny.
Big seller. Love it.
Big seller. So all right, you guys we all went offense first round. So now I'm going defense. I'm going with Kenny Ozawalu. Hearing that he's going to play defensive end at 285 and play 3-tech at 285 with his and knowing what Bates does in terms of developing D-line guys, I think he could be a legit breakout player. That's if Nigel Smith and Trent Wilson let him see the field. He could be a breakout guy this year. You just look at his skills, his athletic skill set, and what he's doing in the weight room here in Norman, and it's just I think I'm going to be excited to hear what he's doing this spring in terms of flashing that athletic ability.
Okay.
Well, I went defense as well. Chris Mason, I would say Bishop Thomas. Finally getting some real film on the kid, and you go and look at that.
The Oklahoma breakdown stuff.
Yeah, you look at
Yeah.
the in the weeds, and you just are just like, whoa.
Whoa.
Definitely not going to say G fit. I mean, I say G fit. Definitely not going to say G baby, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. The motor, the
Yeah.
activity, violent
Speed.
hands, yeah, different things like that. Those are things that I'm just like you can teach that stuff. But on the other end, I was like, for his size, for what he's trying to do, I said, I see now why they went and got him. I was like, he's another Lacey, another Bothroyd, those type of guys that can come in here, learn this defense pretty quickly, pick it up, and go out there and execute. He's not somebody that I think is going to do a lot of damage, but he's a guy that when you put him out there, you can get high productivity. His plus minus is going to be great, and so he's a guy that I say, hey, whether it's Trent Wilson, whether it's Nigel Smith, hopefully both of them, but whether it's those two or it's a Tank Carrington or another kid that pops up on that defensive line, he's somebody that I believe that if he really buys into what Bates is teaching or whatnot, he solidifies you on that D line having a 5-man rotation. I really believe that he's somebody that you can count on. You have your two superstars and Jaden Jackson and David Stone. You're building towards that, but who is going to be that third guy, right? NWO. Who's the third man, right?
Yep.
So you're looking at Nigel Smith, you're looking at Trent Wilson, and you're hearing great things about them, obviously from BV. But now you look at, okay, who can solidify that to be that glue guy, to be that other piece that can come in there? We know we're going to get great snaps from, and he's somebody. When you look at the film, look at what he's doing, the activity, you say, yeah, he's going to be hell, especially in that twist game, the stunt and twist game. I was like, he has a chance to be hell. So just the activity, the violence, different things like that. I think now coach being with Bates and then with all the stuff we do on defense is going to make life easier on him. And he's somebody, honestly, where you can say on certain downs, just get after the quarterback. We're not asking you to do anything crazy. Just go after the quarterback, right? He's shedding tackles. He's doing a lot of stuff. So Bishop Thomas is on my radar for sure now.
I I had to laugh the moment you said Bishop Thomas and you mentioned in the weeds from the last clip they showed where he jumped on the running backs. He jumped on the running back's back and tackled him from behind.
Wild, right? I love it. I love it.
But yeah,
I like Bishop Thomas too, and I might have went that direction, but obviously I had the benefit of looking at you guys' picks before I made mine. So and honestly, I'm going to state that because I can tell you that I think that anybody that they're bringing in on that defensive side, we haven't really seen them have big misses on that side. Really, they seem to kind of provide what they need them to provide, and I know that Monty was asking earlier if he felt he heard what BV was talking about, whether he does have a 22 deep as starter type guys on the defensive side. I think he certainly does. I don't think that I think the front seven is fine. You may not, maybe, I mean, I guess the question would be whether or not you're there at linebacker. I think the front four is fine, and then some, right? I do, in my opinion. But that being said, I would go for that reason. I'm going to stick on this offensive side, and I'm going to say the other piece that needed to kind of get shored up, and you lost some pieces after the season. The fact that Marion Harris, I think is a huge addition. Look, they went in and got a guy like Caleb Nitta, and there's a lot to like about him as well. But I mean, there's a lot of these dudes that you could talk about that they went in and added in that position there. Peyton Joseph from Georgia Tech. I just like the fact that they did. And, even Fred Hinton going out and getting guys on that offensive line to whether they're depth pieces or whether they're going to be, I think with Emarion Harris, you're looking at, okay, this allows you to put Ryan Foje at the position I think a lot of people feel like he's probably better at, which is guard, right? Because Emarion Harris has got a lot of snaps under his belt at the SEC level playing at Arkansas. And I think he's a big boy that has, he's coming in here to kind of, he said it himself. He wanted to get a little bit more of that nasty streak that you can get from playing for Big Bill. You know what I mean? And so I think that's a huge ad right there. I'm interested to see on how that kind of plays out. But the more I've seen it, I mean, I was concerned about the losses that you had in the portal because of the fact that when you bring in freshmen and they become starters immediately as true freshmen, it kind of messes with your depth of the other younger guys. It's like, look, if we're already not going to start, why would we stay? I think about Isaiah Dent in that situation. He was a redshirt freshman, and another year of not being able to play because of injury, it put him in a position where it was untenable to stay, right? Now, and I think that he's going to be really good at somewhere. I mean, I think he's going to be really good at Mississippi State. So I'm less concerned about that now than I was in seeing some of the additions that they made along the offensive line. And I think it was very, very important. And so those guys, Caleb Nitta, and Emarion Harris, I also look forward to seeing, you heard what BV was saying about some of the guys that were already there. I look forward to Darius Afalava. I hate what we just found out about UK Dan.
Man,
that sucks a lot for him. He's out for the year, from what I understand. That's what I heard.
Well, he's going under the knife. We know that, but we don't know that. We don't know the. I've not heard that.
We don't know well, everything that I've heard that it's bad. So it doesn't look good for him coming back this year. And I didn't think that I was breaking any news there. So
nothing's public about that yet. Jason, So you just did break some news that if he's out for the year.
He's got some breaking news then. I know this is a fact. He got hurt badly. And I don't know that he's out for sure. I don't know positively that he's out for sure for the whole season. It looks like he's out for the whole season.
That sucks. So
yeah. That even makes it even more important for these guys that you went and grabbed up in the portal to be ready to rock and roll. And guys like Darius Afalava in his second year after, not playing because of injury last year as a true freshman, it's time for him to step up too, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I think Emarion Harris That's the 6 starters you have in offensive line right now. You've got Ozetta, Foji, Harris, McCulla, EPL, who's having a great offseason from what I've heard, especially in terms of leadership as well. And Fasusi. So those are the 6 guys. Those are the 6 we need to hear coming out of spring are developing some cohesion and chemistry as a starting O-line. And Harris I think Harris is a big addition. I was surprised though he was able to get him. But, Bill recruited him out of high school. If he probably regrets not going with Oklahoma instead of Arkansas coming out of high school, OU was probably his second choice. But back then Arkansas got everybody in state. So no, we didn't mention Cole Sullivan. I think he's sort of the natural next guy. But yeah,
I guess I could have right there at the same time. I feel like we've talked about Cole Sullivan quite a bit on the show for certainly, and I've mentioned him quite a bit on my other shows as well. I definitely think that he's a huge ad, and but I also think that he's ready to rock and roll. To me, the reason, who am I looking for the most? I'm looking for this offense to get better. I mean, I guess I'm kind of singular focused on the run game is why I didn't bring it up. But I think defensively speaking, yeah, absolutely, Cherokee. I think it's fair for you to bring that up because definitely you want to see him be that guy.
And they were talking about him we were getting a lot of Stutzman comps around the kid, right? Which is that's high water right there. But if he can play like that, he could be. He's penciled in as a starter, and we're sort of expect. I think I didn't mention him because I'm kind of expecting him to just hit the ground running and be the guy. So
he was in week 2. He looked like a veteran player from Michigan.
He did. That's why Michigan was so pissed off to lose him.
Shit. And rightfully so. So again, I don't think that it's not that we're not thinking about him at all. I think it's just that, if we're looking at what are we looking at most important is that.
Yeah. We lost some defensive tackles up front, and we know that we want the running game and the O-line to play better. That's obviously, Jason is that's Jason's super focus there. And I think it's the focus, for Brent too. He was mentioning it, and Nagy's mentioned it. Everybody has mentioned it so far in one day of media. Improving the running game would be probably the one day theme we got out of the media day on Monday, right? From everybody.
If we can just do that, man, I'm telling you, man, it makes this team completely different. The South Carolina game, you were just able to just dink and dime down the field. You didn't even have to do anything. You felt good that whole game. Yeah. It just was different, You got bits and pieces of that throughout the Ole Miss game too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, real quick before we jump off of here and all the rest of that stuff, what's up with everybody now? Okay, with X-Rob, is he fast or is he a bruiser? That seems to have been like a little bit of a conversation because now they're starting to drop like these top 10 fastest guys, and you see X-Rob in there, and I was just like, really?
Where are you seeing that?
Obviously a lot surrounding like the new EA game, and then just I've seen like on 3 and some of these other sites like drop like, hey, 10 top 10 fastest returning players next year, and I seen X-Rob's name in there, and I was like, interesting.
Our 238-pound Mullen running back.
I was like, look, I'm not saying he's not fast. I've seen the guy break long runs.
He's fast he's explosive and fast for his size. I don't think there's any debate about that, but no. I don't think he's gonna beat Jonathan Hatton or Torrey Blaylock in a 40 anytime soon.
Nah.
I don't think he's gonna beat him in pads in a 40 anytime soon. So we'll see.
I don't even know. I'm not sure. Why are we bringing this up? I don't know.
I just saw that the other day, and I just thought, I was like, oh, that's interesting.
I think he's got a mix of speed and bruiser ability. I think I think you've kind of hit it on the head when it comes to X-Rob, though. We got to see this guy stay healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't know how much we're even going to see of him in spring. Really,
I don't know. After listening to Deland McCullough, what we kind of talked about last week is like, I don't know that you're going to sit out of anything this spring when you've got a new guy, right?
yeah, but
That's trying to evaluate who he wants, to be in his rotation of backs and where.
True enough. I mean, I'm not sure.
I think summertime is whenever you'll see them. I mean, you got to let the guy heal because I think summer you'll be able to get those reps.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that to an extent. And he was already recruiting X-Rob, by the way, he said too.
Yeah,
he brought that up, so I understand all that. At the end of the day, and Unk's talking about Hatton saying he weighs 230. Woo. He's got a mix. He's got a mix of speed and power that. I mean, I keep looking at him and I'm seeing Samaje Perine in a lot of ways, right?
Okay, I can see that.
I kind of look at him as just watching his film. He just seems like that low center of gravity, but he can scoop, and he's got nice cutting ability. But then when he gets going downhill, he's got that speed to take it to the house. And I'm not. I mean, listen, I don't like doing these comps like that, but I think if we're talking about the way he runs, I look at like Samaje Perine as a bruiser type that has speed, right? I mean,
yeah, definitely. I mean,
now whether or not you do what Samaje did, yeah, we'll see. but that being said, at the end of the day, look, like I said, I like where they are. Somebody was saying something up here a second ago. I wanted to go back to it. Hold on a minute. Oh, the Big Ten. I don't think that was a Big Ten. I don't think that's what they were saying. I think they were trying to say that they want to find out what can the rule be, how can we fix this rule, and while we're doing that, let's do a moratorium on
investigations about it.
Not investigating and doing and punishments, because we want to make the punishment more severe. So and they weren't saying forever. They were saying a moratorium. So like right now, you were not going to do anything about it. But don't think that if you go out there and God forbid for me to say anything good about the Big Ten, by the way, but I don't think they were saying that we don't want you to be punished. What we don't want is, let's hold off on it and we can come back and get your ass with the new punishments that we want the NCAA to come up with for tampering.
Right. And the other point was,
that's what it felt like to me.
They were like, guys, seriously, there are 300 players signed 90 minutes after the portal opened.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clear that whatever tampering rules we have in place aren't effective and don't speak to the real world out there. So we need to change them and make them realistic and then put punishments around them.
I think if the NCAA is already putting out a response, I haven't seen it, Trojan Fight, so I'm not going to tell you what it said or what they're talking about. But I think if they're against doing that right away, right now, I would tell you that it's because right now they're worried about what's going to happen after spring. And they want to make sure that this shit doesn't happen to where guys leave school without a transfer portal opening and then move on, right?
And go somewhere else and try and claim that they're eligible.
We know it's going to happen first and foremost, but they're acting like they're going to be able to do something. Expect there to be more. Expect there to be more of that kind of stuff going on. More lawsuits is what I would say when it comes to that. Because if they already couldn't do anything about the Wisconsin player that went to Miami last year, what are you going to do about it? Because guess what? They knew that there's shit you could do. That's why they didn't do anything. And so,
yeah, but he at least went he was at least transferred during a window, right? Wisconsin.
He was.
So that's
fair enough.
So
I think that's
slightly different, but you're right. He never went in the portal. Wisconsin never put him in the portal, and he went to Miami anyway, and was eligible to play because he was obviously playing in the national championship game. So you're right. So we'll see how things go.
At the end of the day, all I'm saying is at the end of the day, expect some of this to go down. But
Oh yeah, no, you're
as
right.
far as
It's going to happen. Yeah.
And if I'm going to say anything else about it, it's going to be this. Guess what? And until we do a CBA, all the bullshit that we've heard in the last week don't mean anything.
Continues to be the answer that
It just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
No one wants to talk about. So
no, they don't, and they don't want to. We don't want to make them employees. We don't want to do this. We don't do that. Well, guess what? You're going to keep losing on all this shit because as soon as it gets back to the Supreme Court, they're going to be like, no. I just don't see.
They may have a leg to stand on the transfer portal windows because they at least went through a process.
I hope so. I would hope, but I don't know.
And I don't know that we will, but because they at least went through a process.
Because the athletes did not have a say in any of that.
No,
either.
You're right. But they at least went through a process on that, so we'll see what happens there. But there's going to be a kid. Some school is going to have X player get hurt in spring and tamper with someone to try and fill that gap. It's going to happen, and it's probably going to be LSU or Miami who kick it off.
That's actually funny. That's really funny.
Yeah, and I mean, we put up with Benji for being a horn, but bro, never happened. Even never. we're not turning over the keys to my channel to a damn Longhorn. We ain't doing it. So sorry,
So anything else? Anything else, guys, from this week of Deluge of Sooner information?
Oh man, look, I'm ready to see more.
Yeah, I'm over here just flabbergasted right now. I mean, Porter Moser fighting for his fucking life. Excuse me. I got. Let's get up. Let's go ahead and get up off of here.
Thinking, well, tomorrow will be the last day. Well, maybe not.
You just wear a freaking hockey mask on the sideline and be done with it, right?
I guess I'll ask this. Nobody wants to answer this question, but is there a win total he can have in this turn? If he gets to the NCAAs, does he stay?
Elite Eight. I'm sorry. It's Elite Eight.
He's got to get to the Elite Eight. He's got to get to the Elite Eight.
No, not from what I'm hearing. If he gets to the tourney, if he gets in the tourney, he probably saves his job. If OU's bounced as one of the last four out, which is if they beat A&M tonight and they're up, but that's never meant that the Porter Moser team can't blow a lead in the second half. If they beat A&M, they're probably at worst last team out. If they lose to, I think they'd have to play.
No, the last team out, Chris Mason, should be
Miami of Ohio.
Miami of Ohio, bunch of jackasses. How do you go 31-0 and lose to the 8th seed in your own tournament? That was freaking insane.
Wow!
Man.
And they have no quad 4 wins, right? They have
30, yeah.
They got like one quad. They have no quad 1 wins, and it's all.
I mean, it's not like the other two teams they're compared to are any better because Auburn and Oklahoma are like against top 25 or top opponents. Hell, they're both like 3-9. 2-14 or something like that. So I mean, it's not like it's that big of a difference. It's just the fact you go 31-0.
By the way, Benji, wasn't I talking like trash about Texas basketball 2 weeks ago? And you were like, no, we're better than that. We're doing much better than OU. I was like, oh, okay, sorry, my bad. Aren't you guys like sucking? I mean, last time I just watched Porter Moser, he beat Texas in Austin. So
I'll be honest with you, there's really no difference between Texas and OU this year. Both have really talented squads. They just, for whatever reason, just can't get it done. It's not
get out of their own way.
Hurt quite a bit at the start of the season. I mean, they didn't.
The only injury he's really been dealing with is the Forsyth kid. So, and he's now back, and Steve G says, "Wait, A&M is going on a run." Well, we knew that was about to happen.
It was 16. I just looked at it, and it was 16, and it's still 18 is what it's showing here.
All right, well, and I just saw, you just got a 3-point play.
14. Okay.
You just got a 3-point play, apparently, so. We'll see what's going on. But yeah, you're right, Chris. We're about to have. I thought he was dead and buried, and it's just he's like. I mean, put a hockey mask on. The guy's like Jason. You can't kill him.
Can't kill him. Freddy Krueger.
Not hard to kill. You can't kill.
All right, y'all.
All right, we call it.
Was he wearing a hard to kill shirt on the sideline tonight?
No. That people have been photoshopping that. And it's been pretty awesome. Yeah.
My gosh, that would be great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, we appreciate everybody coming in. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, do all that stuff. Share the streams with your friends. Kchris is almost to 1,000 subscribers. Like inside of 100. I'm inside of 70 from 5,000 subscribers. Mr. Mason is rolling up. Hey, look, you've added a couple of hundred in the last month, haven't you?
I have, yeah. And you know, and our impromptu show over the weekend we did for the future freak out. We got nearly 3,000 views over all 3 Jumper channels. So
lots of views, not a lot of new subs. Help us out with that, guys. Make sure you hit that sub. You know, I've got more than half of the people that are watching the show, I know for sure on mine, are not subscribers. Help us out with that. It helps out the channel, keeps us free, and we're bringing you good content. You know, we know you are. You know we are, or you wouldn't be here all the time. So appreciate you guys all coming in, but help us out and hit the subscriber button. See you all on the next one. What's down?